I don't know why I
She
did that.
talks.
Yeah. All right. Welcome to episode 2 of the Visionaries season with All in the Fam. Today we have a special guest. His name is Devonta, and he is the founder and CEO of TGi Movement. We're going to get into the inception of TGI and ask Devonta a couple questions. So, how are you? Introduce yourself to the fam.
Thank you, thank you. Thanks for having me. My name is Devonta. A lot of people just call me Tay. Chicago born and raised from the South Side, Chicago Line community. 24 years old. I'll be 25 this December, and yeah, excited to be here.
Awesome.
Damn, everybody's adulting so quickly.
I know. I thought you were older than us. Man, you're younger than us. Okay.
No, I thought he was younger.
Yeah.
I thought you were at least
Really?
like early 20s.
I was going to say like 28.
20. Damn.
That's a good age. I mean, he has a whole
That's
foundation.
not bad. Yeah. He just seemed way younger than us.
Got you.
From my
Maybe it's the maturity for me that I thought you're older. Not on your looks.
I don't think you a kid though, so I don't want you to think that. So
go ahead.
So what is the TGI movement and what does TGI stand for?
So TGI stands for Tranquility, Gratitude, Innovation, and TGI Movement is a youth organization that focuses on community development and youth development. So our mission is to curate and cultivate spaces that we call the Oasis throughout Chicago to unite youth across neighborhood boundaries to ultimately dismantle dream deserts. And so dream deserts is like this whole thing that we coined, I think in 2017. So it's the system that you fall into and they can't follow their passion because of lack of resources, knowledge, support, and sometimes like circumstances. And so just thinking about how we can combat that through oases which is really safe and inclusive spaces where youth can come together across neighborhood boundaries. Because if you're from Chicago, you know how neighborhoods can get. And so really emphasizing that and also creating a space where like youth can cultivate talent, leadership, bonds, and passion. Because I started doing like community work when I was a freshman in high school. So I've been doing, this year made a decade that I've been doing community work. And I've been through like a lot of programs and they were good programs, but like none of them really focused on my self-interest. And so that's kind of where like Dream Deserts came from.
Awesome. So how specifically, how did you come up with the name? And would you say those are like the 3 pillars of TGI?
Yeah, those became the pillars. I think there's 2 more. I feel bad for not knowing that, but I think there's 5 in total. I started TGI with a friend in high school. Our junior year in high school, we started it, and we were literally just like in my room on Twitter, and we was like, "Damn, we should like start our own shit." Because we was like just going through Twitter, and this was like the phase of Twitter when like everybody had like their own clique and stuff. Like, especially I think that's like around like ASAP Mob was like really really big, and we was just like, damn, we can create our own shit, and spent a few more hours like brainstorming names, and I don't know how we got the TGI, but we came up with TGI. And at first it was just like, thank God it's, and then we spent like another day to come up with like Tranquility, Gratitude, Innovation. And so it was kind of just like a bunch of brainstorming processes, probably a month after we decided to create something.
So it was just basically because you all didn't feel the need or that anybody else or the other organizations that you all had didn't really speak to what you were trying to like gravitate to is why you made it, right?
Well, initially we created TGI because we wanted to create like a safe space for our friends and ourselves, and basically just to do something, around school. Most of my close friends, we was all like in this voice program, which was like community work, but we just wanted to like create something outside of that for like the people who wasn't in voice and the rest of our friends.
So it serves as, a community for you and your friends as well, but it's also like a clothing brand. So why a clothing brand? And did you have any experience like designing clothes before? Is it just something that you all want to do to like raise the funds for the brand?
kind of the same reason we started TGI. We was tired of paying other people's shit. So that's like the beginner reason. And then this was also like probably not too long ago after H&M did that Coolest Monkey in the Jungle thing with the black kid. And then I think it might have been before or after, but it was also around that same time Gucci did the blackface sweater. So just thinking about like how these brands always mock black people, but still we buy into it. So we just wanted. The big reason was we wanted to like create something that was like ours and to promote that, but we also wanted to like combat these narratives that like these other brands put out and just push into the community. And then the another big reason was to promote youth entrepreneurship. So I feel like to Black people, entrepreneurship isn't like a promoted pathway. It's usually always college or military. And like even in the Hispanic community, like growing up, you know, like you either working with your dad, you know, doing like mechanical work or working in the restaurant, like, you know, in the Hispanic family, you know, it's kind of promoted, you know, in some cases, but like in the black community, I just feel like it's not promoted at all. And so just using the clothing line as a way to like promote youth entrepreneurship to our peers and to let them know, like, you know, it's possible. And the big reason for me personally, another reason was I feel like clothing is another form of expression. So I like to I always like express myself to like the clothing I wear. Some days I'm wearing dark colors, another day I'm wearing like super bright colors, you know. And a lot of times people see me in red because like red is my favorite color. So, you know, just using it as a way to like express yourselves.
So how did you feel after your first piece that you made? So your first like hoodie or a t-shirt, like how did you feel after that?
First piece. So in 2017 is the year we started the clothing line. Started with two t-shirts, one white one and one red one, of course. And it was crazy. So we did this thing called the boom box, which is back then it was meant for small businesses to like get an opportunity to do like a pop-up shop at an affordable price. Me and Apile, being the people that we are, we was like, man, that shit sound kind of boring. So what can we do more besides just a pop-up shop? So we did the pop-up shop for a month, but we made it a community pop-up shop. So we did events for that whole month. So we hosted like open mics, movie nights, game nights, whatever we can do at the actual space. Because the way the space was set up, it was like a small storefront. They had like a big ass courtyard in front. So we had all that space accessible to like do these events outside. And it was real pre-COVID prime time, you know, like you can do whatever you want around that time. But that's how we got like all the people to come to the pop-up shop to like buy the shirts, like come support us. And I was just watching the recap video earlier and I was like, man, this is like such a great time. And that's one of my favorite boom boxes that we did when we first released the clothing.
That's awesome. So now how do you actually make the clothes? Like, do you screen print them? Do you hand create them? Do you have somebody else create them? Like, what's your process in creating the clothes?
You want the sauce?
Yeah. Well, you don't have to give all your creative sauce, but if you don't want
just,
to.
So usually I got this app on my phone called Photo Leap, and so it's basically like an easier version of Photoshop on the phone. So that's why I do like quick mock-ups to like get the point across. And then I send it to Justin, who does like all my graphic design work. So he's like the mastermind behind like all the graphics. He also like draws all of the logos. So like I did this like on the Photoshop. It was like a quick version just to like get the idea like across to him, and he like does the graphic design like makes it come to life. So that's how usually most of the designs is. I'll draw rarely to like do it. Like I really got to be like in the mood to draw because I stopped drawing like sometime in high school. So I don't even do it no more.
Yeah. And then what about the collections? Do you have multiple collections? And then if so, what was your favorite one that you guys dropped?
Oh, so far I did a bunch of drops. Only did one formal collection which was the Black Showcase that we dropped last summer after George Floyd and Breonna Taylor and the riots and all that events, all those events that took place last summer. And so I did like a Black Lives Matter mashup with the TGI and just real pro-Black designs last summer. So I guess by default, that would have to be my favorite one because that's the only formal collection that I did. I'm trying to get better this year. So this year I dropped something for the spring, and I'm working to drop something for the summer. So if I can drop something for the fall and winter, I might have a different answer. I'm trying to do something by the season this year. I usually just like do stuff when I can do stuff.
Mm-hmm. Awesome. Well, we can't wait to see what you come up with.
Yeah, I saw on the yellow background. Is that what you're doing for the spring season right now?
Yeah, we did the black and purple windbreakers for TGI's 7th anniversary.
Oh,
so
congratulations!
We did 7 years. Thank you. And then we brought back one of the favorites, which was the camo windbreaker. This hoodie I got on now and the yellow hoodie we released. And then we did a black jogging suit and some shirts this year for the spring. I actually need to start working on the summer because summer is like a few weeks away.
Yeah.
For some reason, I always wait till the last minute to do stuff for the summer.
Maybe that's when your creative mind starts running.
True.
I feel that. I feel like I do best when I'm under pressure, especially with like grants.
So getting into the brand, so you had the idea to start TGI because you thought it would be, great for your community and a safe space for you and your friends. What steps did you take to create the movement? And just for the fam, if somebody wanted to create that for their community, what steps did you take so they can, listen to what you have to say and take those steps as well?
What steps did I take? I probably took the most drastic steps. I had full ride scholarships. I decided not to take any of those opportunities just because I felt like it wasn't gonna like help me. Like it would have, like I would have pursued like further education, but it wasn't gonna help me with like TGI at that point. And like I just wanted to go for it. Like I didn't want to wait like another 4 years and go for it. Like I wanted to do that shit then. And like every opportunity that I took was aligned with my goals. So, like after high school, I ended up working at Gage Park, which is the high school I graduated from. So I was always around youth, which is one of the biggest focus for TGI. So I was always able to like bring more youth into the movement, into like what we was doing in the community. And then like after Gage Park, well, at the same time as Gage Park, I was instructor for this Teen Reach program at an elementary school. So again, like just being around youth. And then after both of those, I did 2 years of Public Allies, which is basically like a 10-year internship. And you get placed at an organization to do like social capacity work. And so like the first year I was placed in Oak Park, unfortunately, I really hate that town. But as a first year, you don't really get the choice of like where you get placed at. But as a second year, you get the choice to choose the organization. So I went back to SWAP to run the voice program that I was in. I was in high school. So I was always like picking stuff that was like aligned with me pushing TGI forward. And because of Public Allies, the first year is how I got connected to the people at the Boombox and how I got connected with the first grant to like do the shirts. So like if I would have went to college, I would have never met those people to like start TGI clothing line. So I would say make sure like the decisions you're making is aligned with like what you want to do in the future. Like you gotta always be thinking with that end goal in mind. Cause I was stubborn. Like I just like before what was it? What's 2021, 2020. Chase was trying to like recruit me, and I kept turning them down. And so I just feel like, it's a stable job, but like just sitting behind a desk doing transactions seems like the most boring shit to me. And I'd rather struggle than be miserable. So that was like you gotta be prepared to like make those sacrifices and not like get complacent. So I feel like a lot of people they take like good jobs or they take something just because like they need it, like a factory job or like working at McDonald's, like people people will take these opportunities, but then they get complacent with like, you know, the stability and not, and then they'll be like more scared to take that risk to like go to the next level. So I feel like sometimes you just got to do it, and if you can, you know, some people got different circumstances, but you know, sometimes you just got to take that leap and just go for it.
Right. And in terms of actually establishing TGI as a nonprofit, what were those steps? Who did you have to talk to actually finalize the organization, the contract, license, like the board of directors, if you have any, like what was the business
Sure.
aspect of starting a nonprofit?
Man, how much more? This is like the most boring part about being an entrepreneur. So you got to be willing to like get through the boring stuff too. For a while, since like 2017, though, I had a fiscal agent. So that's basically like an actual nonprofit that will like vouch for you. Like when you apply for grants, like do certain things, like they'll co-sign it, so you can like apply for these grants. And so if you can, I would say find one of those. So then you know you got your foot in the door. Like they see, my fiscal agent was the Morale Foundation. So when I apply for grants, they see, oh, this group is vouching for TGI, so there's some credibility there. And I was lucky. Most fiscal agents charge a price to be a fiscal sponsor. Mine didn't. And I also met them through my first year of public allies. So like just, you know, taking certain paths would like lead you to certain people. I just became an official 501c3 2 months ago. So back in September is when I finalized my board of directors, and they was like on my ass about becoming a 501c3. So then I got connected to a lawyer in like November, and we filed November 24th. And it took about like 2 to 3 months for them to like approve me. So if you like reading, you can do the application yourself. I do not like reading, so I had a lawyer do it. I also got really lucky because the person I had for the general counsel for TGI, which is basically a pro bono lawyer who like look over contracts and stuff like that, just to make sure the stuff that I'm signing or getting into is like solid. She connected me to like an up and coming lawyer, so she did it for like a really cheap price, and she saw the whole application through, and she still was like, you know, if I got questions, I sent her a text message, and she was like more than willing to help. So I would say you got a network. You know, it makes the process a lot easier when you got people who can help you with the process. Because looking at all those papers and it's just a headache. Like so after I got approved, then my board was like, okay, now you need to get insurance for TGI. I'm like, damn, it was like one thing after another. And,
overwhelming.
Yeah, and then like, so I did the insurance, and they sent me the packet, and I'm like, who do they think is gonna read? It's like 30 pages. Who do they think gonna read all 30 of these pages for this insurance? So it's just like stuff like that, just making sure like you get stuff in order. Because my board's whole thing was like, now that I'm officially a nonprofit, if I do like something, they're held accountable. So they want to make sure like they was covered. And then since I'm doing youth work, in case somebody does get hurt, you know, that will be covered. And potentially getting the space on 63rd. I don't know when it's going to air, so it's technically a secret, but I'm getting the space on 63rd. And so just thinking about like something happens at the space, like I can be held liable for that. So just making sure like we was covered as an organization and they was covered, you know, as a board. So, you know, they was nagging me, you know, I guess, you know, it's for good purpose, but, you know, you still got to be able to push through it. And find out, because like with this part, I had to find resources to find like insurance providers for a nonprofit. Like I don't even got health insurance. I mean life insurance. Like how am I supposed to find insurance for an organization? And so it was just like thinking about like stuff like that, but it was like a lot of stuff and making sure I was utilizing my network to like get me connected to who I need to be with.
Wow, that is
you adulting for real,
right? And I'm over here. I don't even want to do my taxes. Right.
So you seem you're very passionate about the movement. So when it comes to these concepts for the community projects and what you have to do, is it solely based off the community needs, or is it more based off of you just coming up with the idea and that you think it would be cool for the community to have?
Both. Because the most of the work I do is in Chicago Line Gage Park, which is I've been here my whole life. And so like one of the things that I came up with recently was this initiative called Visual, which is a community beautification initiative. So Visuals instinctively sends you a building light. And just thinking about this concept called visual trauma, like just seeing vacant buildings, lots, abandoned storefronts. So if you drive down like 63rd Street, that's all you will see in the neighborhoods. It's a bunch of boarded up houses. And just thinking about like what impact that has on the community and its residents, you know, outside people see that, you know, why would a Victoria's Secrets want to put a store in this community when there's like nothing else here? Or like there used to be a Sears and the AMC here that I used to go to all the time. Now that shit is torn down. So like, why would resources want to come to the community when the community looks the way it does? And just thinking about community beautification and the impact it can have, like the Selena mural in Pilsen. When that mural went up, the business that mural was done on, like the economic revenue went up like 3 times. Or just thinking about like when Juice WRLD passed away and they did the mural in West Town, like everybody went to go visit that mural. Just thinking about like art and what it does for the community, or just thinking about like Pilsen overall, like that community is known for its murals.
Right.
And I think Logan Square is like another community that's known for its murals. So just thinking about art and the benefits it can have in the community. And also, so visual is also murals and also community gardens. So we started doing community gardens. We did the first one on 60th and Campbell, and just like turning these vacant lots into like something, you know. So it's not, I'm just not always seeing like a fucked up lot on the corner in the middle of the block. So just trying to change the atmosphere in the community, because you know, if your surroundings look decent, you know, at least you will feel decent. Just like just thinking about like that study, like if you start making your bed every day, it can help with depression. So just thinking about these things is really how I come up with like the initiatives.
That's beautiful. That is really beautiful. And yeah, I'm in Pilsen frequently. I have a friend who lives there. She has a clothing line that's also a nonprofit as well, Centitilo Shop. And similar to you, she says the same thing about if you bring together nonprofits, art, and community, the economic growth in a community will skyrocket. It may be slow to skyrocket, but it definitely helps. And she said during the pandemic, she really saw growth because a lot of small businesses were closed, but the community aspect, she still felt that in Pilsen. And as things were opening up, and her nonprofit was reaching to the success that she saw worth it and value in, you know, it just kept going in a steady direction. So it's really nice to see somebody else in the same realm of nonprofit and clothing say the same thing, because that's amazing. So I really admire, you know, what you guys are doing for your communities. Her specifically, you as the South Side. That's love, and I really love how it takes the community of Chicago to stay in Chicago to make it better while everybody else leaves Chicago or the surrounding suburbs. And it's people like you guys who are going to make it great and are going to see Chicago prosper, and not the people that leave and always talk shit about Chicago. So like what you're doing is not going unseen. So just wanted to say that real quick. But as far as inspiration for the clothing lines, the collections, where do they come from? Do you have families or friends that help with the concept, or is it just up in your dome and you just put on palette?
I got some friends that would like throw out ideas. Off the top of my head, I can't think about if I took their ideas into consideration or not. I know they be asking for like a lot of colorways. Well, I did. They always ask me for a sweatsuit. So this year I did a sweatsuit. So that's like one of the things my friends asked me for a lot. And another group of my friends, they asked me for like TGI durag. So they've been asking me for this since like 2018. So I finally found a website to like make custom fabric. And so I ordered it. So I'm waiting for it to come in. And then this woman named Huda, she runs a production company in the States. And because she's like anti-sweatshop, so she has this whole thing around that. And so she's gonna help me make these test samples for this do-rag. So hopefully I can get that going. So I do take into consideration feedback. As far as like general ideas for my clothing, I don't know. So like this, I'm trying to find a good example. So like this is our official logo.
Mhm.
This is kind of a bad example because this wood. This is like my old case. Hold on, I got a fresh case. So we chose the owl because Gage Park, and that's Gage Park's mascot. So we wanted to like stay true to like what TGI was created from. So this is a fresh example of our wood cases.
Got you.
And so that's our official logo too.
Is it engraved?
Yeah, so this is a wood case and it's engraved with a laser.
Mm.
And so just thinking about this, I was in California and I was like, damn, I never seen these before. And he makes them like on the spot. And I was actually his first customer that day. So he gives me like a really good deal when I make cases. And so I think about like stuff like that, stuff I don't usually see people selling. And I just try to go from there. So like anything can inspire me because we was walking through like one of those outlets and I seen him by like the glance of my eye, the peripheral, and we almost didn't have phone cases. So I try to think about like the stuff I would wear, how I can like make something creative. I try to put like social messages in my clothing. Like I have a gun violence design that I put out in 2019. I can't remember the quote, but it's a nice quote and a nice design. And I always try to think about like community because another reason for the clothing line is a lot of nonprofits make clothing and they be having like 100 fucking logos on the back. I hate it so much. And I was like, I want to try to like fix it, like, put out these messages, but make it something people want to wear and pay for, like, something I would wear outside of an event throughout the year.
Right. So staying within the community and the impact, TGI has done so many like community projects in Chicago. Can you tell us from concept to completion how you pulled these projects off?
There's like one example?
Yeah, you can just give us one. Let's do your favorite one.
My favorite? This was like in a few months after I opened up the space and had a grand opening, that would be my favorite. Last year we did our first back to school event. It's crazy because it wasn't even my idea to do it. One of my friends hit me up and he runs a nonprofit. He was like, I have a great idea that you should do. I just don't want to do it because it's a lot of work. I was like, damn, this is some bullshit. And then he was like, you should do a back to school event because all the back to school events are being canceled and the Bud Bitterkin was canceled last year.
Yeah.
And I was like, damn, that sounds like a lot of work. Like, I see why you don't want to do it because I don't want to do it. And so I thought about it for like 2 weeks. And I didn't know how to do a back to school event. I was like, damn, I gotta raise money, buy book bags and do all this other stuff. I was like, shit. And then
I mean, at least you honest. At least
like
you honest.
The more I was thinking about it, I was like, shit, do I really want to do this? And then I think like one day I made a flyer and I just posted it. And then like after I posted it, it became real. So then I had no choice. It's probably not the best approach to take to things, but once I like announced it, I feel like I got to do it and follow through with it. So that's what I did. Mm-hmm. And like before last year, I wasn't used to like asking people for money. Like I was asking organizations for like thousands of dollars. Like, you want to be a sponsor? And I was like, always wondering, like, I hope y'all don't ask me if I did this before because the answer is gonna be no. And so just thinking about that. So to make it easier, my friend who runs GKMC, Carlile Inglewood, I was like, you want to partner on this? And then he was like, it took me a few times. So the first he said no for the same reason. But after a few times, I got him to say yeah. And we partnered with one of the local churches to like give us a space to do the event. So because of COVID, we organized it as a drive-through, so people will enter through one entrance of the parking lot, exit through the other. And I was like, man, that's even better because all I got to do is like hand shit in the car and they can pull off. And so like once we started planning it, it got easier because like through my connections in Carlisle, we both came up with like the voice program. We've both been doing like community work since we was both in high school. And so we had like a big network. And so we was able to raise like a decent amount of money. We got like, I think 15 sponsors last year. So it turned out well, you know, I just had to like get used to like utilizing my network and asking them for like certain things. And it's like, I know all these people, but like, I don't know what to ask these people for. Cause you know, people always like, you know, if you ever need anything, hit me up. I'm like, all right, I need something.
Right.
So I feel like that was probably my favorite one because we were able to serve 221 families at that event. And we raised over $15,000 last year. And for it to be my first back to school event, it turned out really well. We had like 30 volunteers there. And
wow.
And like I was getting like a lot of support, like Bark Chicago, which is like an animal shelter. They was like collecting supplies for me, like an animal shelter was collecting supplies. I was like, damn, this is pretty cool. And then Dovetail, which is like a brewery on the north side, they started collecting supplies for me. So like once I just put it out, I was able to like get support. And so that's like my favorite event. I feel like I'm gonna just keep doing that model. So once I announce something, I just gotta go for it.
Hold yourself accountable. Right. Which is funny because some people do the opposite. They don't want to tell anybody what they're doing and then launch it when it's done. So it's interesting to see your perspective on that.
Yeah, because them events are not like, I was in a marketing club and I was the VP over events, and those things are not easy to put on. Events in general, like networking. I'm a type of person, I cannot do that. The last minute, what you're doing, that would give me so much anxiety. And I'm like, I have to have it planned out. So to see it just all come together for you, I like to see that like different perspectives because I can see it work from different ways and how if you put your mind to it, you know that it's gonna work out. But that shit, like, especially if you don't know what you're doing either, like that's
But it also sucks like when I'm asking like people to be a sponsor, they ask me questions I ain't even thought of yet. Like, look, I'm just trying to get this money right now so I can get these book bags.
Right.
But it's all the other stuff will come later.
It's experience. So you're learning it like for the first time. So now if you want to do it again, you know what to do necessarily.
Yeah.
Or you can tell somebody else how to do it if they're interested in doing it too.
In 250 families, $15,000 on your first back to school drive. Oh my gosh. That's very impressive. That's very impressive. Now, Reclaiming the Hood campaign. Can you explain that?
So, also after the riots last year, I didn't participate in none of the marches and riots last year because that's all I did during high school, and I was like, I want to do something more. And I was like upset for like a few months, and when I came back from California in June, I did some more reflecting. I was like, I'm gonna start a campaign called Reclaiming the Hood. Much like the back to school event last year, I announced it and then I thought of everything later. So Reclaiming the Hood is a campaign to bring more Black businesses to the community. I forgot a whole important part. I want to raise money to buy back buildings in Chicago on 63rd Street to bring more Black businesses in the community. Open up community spaces and to encourage like generational wealth conversations within the Black and Brown community. And so I announced it last year on Juneteenth. You know, what a better day than Juneteenth to announce something like that. And so far we raised $4,000 on GoFundMe, and it's kind of on the low end because I've been busy with everything else. Because like after I announced it, I probably announced the back to school event like a week or two later, and so like my focus was like kind of shifting. But since we're getting this space on 63rd Street, which is also like a block away from my house, so I'm gonna connect that space back to the Reclaiming the Hood campaign to reignite that and to get that going again.
Nice. Damn. You got like a do now, ask questions later type mentality.
Yeah.
So
well, I'm kind of holding off on announcing the space, only because I'm trying to find somebody to decorate and furnish the space for free, and I think I found my person.
Nice.
Because with this space being on 63rd, 63rd having the stigma around it that it does, I just really want to make sure like this grand opening is on point. And so a lot of people don't know the history. Like 63rd used to be like the leading economic strip in Chicago. Like we used to make more money in downtown. And like when White Flight happened, all the businesses left, and the community looked the way it does now. And like we used to have like a holiday parade from like 1986 to 2007, and like you can tell like how the resources left, and when it left, and why it left.
No, I didn't even know that.
I did. I went to DePaul my freshman year, and everybody has to take a cultural class. So I want to take a cultural class on the African American history in Chicago, the Great Migration of when all the Southern Blacks came up to the northern cities, specifically Chicago. And we toured so many different neighborhoods in the South Side. And my professor, we literally walked down 63rd Street, and he was telling us all the historical aspects of the street, all the events, the prosperity, and it's sad.
I wish we had stuff like that. We didn't have stuff like that in school.
And I went to a Catholic school too, so you wouldn't think. You wouldn't think, like but shout out to DePaul, even though y'all cost too much money, I love. But anyway, so yeah, I mean, I'm from the suburbs, but I'll never claim Chicago as my home because I know we're very territorial. But I have so much appreciation for Chicago when I do go, and I make sure I don't just go to downtown to the Bean. I want to discover communities, West Side, North Side, and South Side, and just talking to people like you from different areas like that. It breaks the communities down out of the stereotypes, out of those stigmas, and it lets us know that there's people living here. Like we have to stop watching the news and watching the headlines and seeing all the negative shit going on. There's good people like yourself doing this. So yeah, I mean, who knows what's going to happen once you open this on 63rd, So that could be a catalyst right there.
And just to echo like what you just said, like how you was able to learn this in the car, that's one of the reasons I do want people to go to college, because like you get to learn like a lot that you will not learn in high school. And unless you like actively chase this information, like if you choose not to go to college, you got to be like actively like trying to like get new information and stuff like that. So I feel like that's so important.
Exactly.
And hopefully, I hope I can spark a change on 63rd Street. I'm trying to find out what I'm gonna name it, but I really want to name it something on 60, like with 63rd in it. Because like it's just so much. For me, it's so much history there too. Like I was born and raised in this community. My first boombox was on 63rd and Halsted. Because of COVID last year, I couldn't do it, but I'm trying to plan a mental health parade on 63rd Street.
Wow.
And the back to school event is going to be on 63rd Street this year. So like a lot of my work is on 63rd Street, and through visual, I'm doing the mural on 63rd Street this summer. And so as you can see, I'm real pro 63rd Street.
Yeah.
And I need that space to be named something with 63rd Street in it.
All right. Well, we heard it here first on this podcast in 2021. So in 50 years from now, when 63rd Street is booming, be like, yup, Devonta, he did that. We had him first.
In your opinion, how has the projects that TGI put on impacted the community? And do you see a change?
Any feedback anybody's given you from the youth specifically?
So the boombox is something that we do every year in the summer, and the youth that attend loves them. Especially like our really big events is usually like the open mic. I'm a spoken word artist, so I love open mics, and the people people that come, I just feel like, just creating a space for people to express themselves. So like the first 2 years, 2017 and 18, we did them on 63rd and Halstead. The year three, I took over downtown. And then year four, I did it in Wicker Park. And this year, I'm going to do it in my own space on 63rd. But just always creating a space for the youth to like be together. They always say like they love it. It's always like it's something to do. It's not besides like the really big events like Taste of Chicago, Lollapalooza. Like it's kind of like nothing to do for like the youth. And so just creating something. And I'm putting on like two weeks to a month worth of events, like sipping paints, for the artists. And last year I did a whole day dedicated to small businesses, giving them a space to like do a pop-up shop at my pop-up shop. And, I didn't sell nothing for the whole day, and I just let them sell. And so people are really appreciative, like for the opportunities I give out. Another day, I had like a local artist night, so I invited like 6 artists to sell their art at the pop-up shop. So just creating like these possibilities. Now I'm real big on like not just having the space like used for myself, but letting other people use it. So like for the storefront, my friends have a photography business, and I'm like, you can shoot your photo shoots at the spot. So just thinking about how I'm always able to give resources when I got resources. And I never thought I'd be saying this, but I seen this quote from Gucci Man.
Whatever inspires you, just say it.
And he was like, a candle loses nothing from lighting another candle. And I was like, damn, Gucci, I never thought you'd be saying something like this. But
hey, he be saying some shit sometimes. You just gotta listen. Gucci be
for real though.
Shit.
So just thinking about that, I'm like, a lot of people do be like gatekeeping opportunities and resources. So just trying to make sure like I'm not one of those people.
Wow. I just love to hear that. I wish we had stuff like that kind of like growing up. I mean, when we were growing up, we still had block parties and stuff like that. So I wasn't really like not inside the whole time, but I think there was a gap to where like when we got to like, I want to say maybe 7th, 8th grade, where we started like staying inside more. It got too crazy outside, and people were growing up or they were moving around. Right. So the city just wasn't as fun as it used to be. So now that you're creating that community for younger generations or younger people to be a part of, I just think that's so inspirational. I wish we had something like that around that time, because you don't see kids outside no more. Like, I don't want to sound like an old ass,
I mean, we
person, but like everybody inside, they don't do it. They don't kick it.
Yeah, pre-pandemic too.
Yeah,
pre-pandemic, like
not till the street lights came on, you came inside. Like it's none of that no more. Everybody just chilling inside. And I'm a homebody too now, but like still, like just to have different events like that to do, so kids can go ahead and communicate or talk with other people that they don't know and network and just not be inside all the time. I feel like that's so dope to have.
What are your thoughts on other Black-owned clothing lines? Do you think that they should have a mission supporting the community as well, or you think it's just up to the entrepreneur at the time, and specifically not nonprofit clothing lines? I can't think of anything else off my head, but just regular clothing lines. Do you think that they should have a social responsibility to the Black community?
Yeah, so I can give you some examples. Inglewood Branded, which is in Inglewood on 63rd and Ashland. They did like a big toy drive last year for the community, and they do other stuff throughout the year. And Leaders, which is at a location I do not know, but they're somewhere north of where I live. They do like community events throughout the year, like basketball events and other sports events, I believe. So whether I feel like they should do it or not, I feel like if you're really a local brand, and you should be benefiting the hood, because if you're not, then you're just like, I don't want to say Nike. You just like Nike, or one of these, just like H&M. Yeah, H&M is a perfect example.
Yeah.
And I feel like you should, especially if you're from that community or from one of the communities in Chicago, and you're starting like a local business, you should want to do stuff for the community. Or even like if you're not a clothing brand, like I'm not sure if they do it or don't do it, but like it's a coffee shop in the back of the yard that's locally owned. Like, there's a bunch of local businesses. I'm not sure what they do for the community, but I feel like it should be some type of a community aspect in that business. I feel like all local businesses should be social enterprises. I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
In a way, it's like building a community as well too. So I think it's everybody, even us, like should have some type of social impact. And I think with us, like it's more of a entertainment type of way. So we're doing it by letting you all speak and come on here and say your part, because we don't feel like a lot of Chicago artists or creatives get the chance to put that out there. The news is so conformed with negativity and death and violence and things like that. So we just wanted to flip the script and have something, in terms of on TV or on your computer or on YouTube or just visual that it's positive. It's not so much negativity, and it's somewhere where we can have a creative space to all come together and everybody's all inclusive as well. So I feel like as a social impact and anything like it just grows it. And then people like you who have the resources to pass that on to other people, that helps grow like different people's situations or their problems, and then they can learn from you or learn from us on what to do to benefit the community as well. So I feel like there's a social responsibility with all of it, because that's the only way we can grow from it or get out of this hole.
Absolutely.
I just thought of the perfect example, the Silver Room. They do a big ass block party every year, and they give other businesses like opportunity to be a vendor at the block party. And either of you ever been to it?
No, I haven't even heard of this. That's what I'm talking about. Like, I've never heard of this stuff. Like, other than the block parties that be on my grandma's block, I don't know about other stuff like that. The TGI Movement, I had to look for you all. So that's why I'm liking what we're doing now and what you're doing as well, because we're able to grow that. We're able to spread the word, so people are informed on what they're supposed to do. Because I've been here since I was born. I don't know none of this shit that's going on. So unless it's talked through like through church community or through friends or word of mouth or whatever, I don't know.
Yeah. So what exactly is the Silver Room?
It's a clothing store, but they do the Silver Room block party pre-COVID every year, and it take up like damn near like 10 blocks. And then they be having like performances, DJs, could be vendors all throughout. It's like a small food court area, and it's a couple thousand people that go to this every year, and I feel like that's a big reason why a lot of people know them, because like they do this every year, so it attracts people from all over the city. And so I feel like brands should do it, because it not only help the community, but it help the brand over time. And I was just thinking like, I don't think the Silver Room was broken into, so just thinking about like a brand that does stuff for the community, like how less likely was a business like that to be broken into during the riots last year versus like a villa in the community.
Yeah. Wow.
So getting into the creative advice and thought-provoking questions, what advice would you have or give to someone who is just starting out a clothing line
or a nonprofit?
Intentionality is always a big thing for me, and consistency. So if you're gonna do it, be consistent and make sure your intentions are there. Cause like a lot of people would tell you like, when I be talking about all this stuff, I never bring up like once about making money, and like I just be wanting to do this shit for the community. That's why I hate doing like the boring shit so much, and so that's a piece of advice, to like be intentional and to be consistent, like the work that you do. I've been working on TGI for 7 years, you know, and within like the last year is like when it started picking up for me. And there's like some saying that it takes like 5 years for a business to like fail to succeed.
Mhm.
So you got to be ready to go through that 5 years. So it took me 7 years to pick up. And as far as like a clothing line, I feel like a lot of people think they can just throw some shit on a shirt, and that is not the way. So I would say you need to be intentional with like the designs that you put out, and it should mean something. Like people gravitate towards stories and meanings behind clothing.
Mm-hmm.
I was trying to think of an example, but be be creative. Like you know, just don't just do it just because you want to put some shit out. Like and don't rush it. Like don't just like rush the design process either. Like get some feedback. You know, ask your friends. And if you can, like you know, do it for real. Like do a photo shoot. The first clothing we dropped in 2017, I did a photo shoot for. Like you gotta like take the whole process serious. Like do the photo shoot, do the promo, and everybody not gonna be able to do a pop-up shop when you first do it, but look for those opportunities. There's always a bunch of events throughout the city that's allowing vendors to come sell their stuff. So be proactive with the opportunities.
Got you. Awesome. And what's the hardest part about maintaining a brand?
Money, because if you don't sell it, you basically just wasted money to get that clothing created.
Oh,
So I would say pushing the clothing to make sure you get the sales or at least break even. And if you're doing what I'm doing, I would say the hardest part is like grants. I learned how to write grants freshman year. So if you don't know how to write grants, that's a skill you need to pick up or find somebody that's willing to invest in you to help you do these grants. Because grants is like how I do all my work these days. That's my brother. So I would say money. That's probably the biggest one.
got you.
What was the biggest rookie mistake you made out with the brand? Let's just say the TGI movement altogether.
Man, I am like if I create a design, I just be so excited for that design, but I be forgetting to put like TGI on it. Like it's on the sleeve this time. Like I would forget to put TGI on some of the designs, and that's what people would tell me all the time. Like you need to put TGI on this somewhere.
Yeah.
And so make sure you know you're branding yourself. I forget to put it like on the event flyer sometimes, cause like I don't be thinking about that, but it's also you know if I'm doing this work, I need to like be promoting the brand. So I would say make sure you're promoting yourself efficiently.
Right, right. And what about last question? So creativity is hard. People hit a plateau. Owning a business is hard. People hit a plateau. Um, what keeps you motivated to not quit? And have you ever thought about quitting? And just like you're like, don't even get me started. Let us know.
He's
Let us
7 years
know.
in. He got some stories.
Right. Give us the tea. What's keeping you motivated? He really got to train his thoughts.
I feel like I feel like I'm too deep in to quit. Especially now that when I put my board of directors together, I was talking to Jasmine, who's the president of my board. We were like really close friends, and I was like, damn, it's too deep. I'm too deep in to quit now. Like I got all these people committed to it, and then so every time like I do something big, I say that to myself. So, like when I hired the lawyer to do the 501c3, I was like, damn, ain't no turning back.
Yeah.
And then when I got this insurance a few weeks ago, I was like, damn. Like that's just something I always say for some reason. But what kept me motivated, that's probably the biggest thing, just thinking about like how much effort I put into it and how much work I put in over the years. And my support, this is what everybody knows me for. Like people that I know they always refer to me as TGI Taste. So it's just like a part of who I am now. And just being invested, I just can't see myself quitting something that I just spent the last 7 years developing. And especially when people are invested in me now, you know, it's just like, damn, just sent y'all ass off. I'm gonna go do something else.
Right.
And then my mom, at first, she was upset that I didn't go to college. And then it took her a few years to like see why I didn't go. And so just getting her support before she passed away was a big one.
Man. Wow. Well, it's full circle though. You
Yeah.
invest in the community and now you have investors in yourself, into the brand as well.
Yeah.
So it comes full circle. And again, what you're doing is not going unnoticed at all. Like
We found you.
Exactly. I was about to say, like Khamari, we had a guest drop out. Similar clothing brand, very community oriented, community driven with a purpose. And we're just like, who else? Because I wanted to give up. I'm like, oh, we can just scrap the episode. And you're like,
I'm like,
no, we need somebody with a clothing brand that gives back and all this and all this. I'm like, okay, look, Khamari, if you can find that person, let's then do it. And she just did a great job of finding you. And now All in the Fam is definitely going to support TGI.
Right.
We're definitely
Now
going to
you're part of the fam.
Yup. So welcome to the fam.
Thank you.
Got your two cousins now. So we're definitely going to tell our friends, our family, those who are going to watch the season about the movement and everything. I'm definitely going to watch closely because any events that you're going to do, I want to make sure that we're going to be there helping out. Even though we're all the way in the suburbs, like we're going to make it an initiative to get out there and help out, support you guys.
Appreciate that.
Of course, of course. So we're pretty much done. Like, where can people contact you? Email, website, Instagram, your personal or TGI? Let them know where they can link up.
So the website is tgimovement.com. Instagram, damn, what's my Instagram? TGI_, I think. TGI's Instagram is TGI Movement for sure. And then if you just want to contact me through email on the website, there's a contact form. And then my phone number and email is also at the bottom of the website. So feel free to contact me. Don't call me, just text me.
Right?
So don't call me because I'm not going to pick up.
Yeah, because I do, with my job, I work for My Black Motherhood, My City, and I do a lot of work with the block clubs, and they always like call me. I'm like, damn, I can't send a text message first, so I can like prepare myself for like what you need.
Yeah.
And sometimes it's like a simple ass question, like, "What time are you coming today?" Like you could have just text me that. I do prefer text if you decide to like use my number. Please text first, or just email me.
Cool. You said you work for my Black Motherhood,
My city.
No way. Okay. I love that organization. I do their community runs every Saturday, once in a while when I can.
So you know Nathan?
Yeah. I probably know his face. Now I'm thinking about it. So if I see him, I'll probably know his face. But yeah, 2 weeks ago, they did a neighborhood run with Gumbo Fit, which was yep. So I was there running with them. And then I forgot the other organization they did. I think they did my coffee, hip hop, mental health. I think 2 weeks ago. Yeah. I was at that one too. So cool. I mean, Chicago, everybody knows each other somehow. That's
Another
awesome.
Fun fact: I designed all the clothes for My Black Motherhood, My City, and we just did a fashion show on the Red Line yesterday that I planned with another M3 employee. So I really do a lot of designing throughout the year.
You're gonna have to do a collab with us later on.
For sure.
For sure. Yeah. I've been following the fashion show. We couldn't go. I wanted to go, but we have so many things to film yesterday. But I'm glad that it went well. I was seeing it on social media, and that's so cool that you do so you created the legit the blue black letters and the
Well,
rest.
not that. That was like before me, but now I created the spring merch that just came out, and I created the summer merch that's going to come out in the next 2 weeks.
Awesome. Great. Cool. Well, we are super excited that you took some time out of your Sunday to talk to us.
Busy schedule.
Sure.
Yes. Appreciate it. Yeah, you're doing all of this at age 24, about to be 25. You good. You good.
I hope so.
On the back. Pat yourself on the back. But yeah, thank you. You're now a part of the fam. We appreciate you. Thank you so much.
Thanks for having me.
Awesome. See ya.